Hello everyone, I'm the NFC and this is Blue Lions TV, and today I'm bringing you the disappointing match review of our 0-0 draw with Norwich City. Come on, this is another bad away performance, and they're starting to become a pattern to our away performances, and a lot of people aren't going to like this match review. I know I lose a lot of subscribers and stuff like this because for some reason it's become manager over club, and that's always kind of baffled me in a way, because really at Chelsea we had a history of managers coming in, managers coming out. We've got a manager that hasn't committed to the club. Yeah, he wants to get all of his assurances firsthand, but at the same time of day, you know, I'll give you an example. So Alex Ferguson, when he was at Manchester United for the first few years, he wasn't getting all the decisions he wanted. He wasn't getting most of them. Yeah, it would have been much more difficult for him at the start, and it was. He was lucky the club still stuck with him, stood by him, and obviously look at the history he had later on. And in a way, he kind of earned and deserved the right, obviously, to get full control, to have things going his way. And, you know, unfortunately, if you only be at the club for 5 minutes, you know, a club isn't going to give everything to you. So I think this whole argument that people will be saying later on in this stream, and in general, that Conte, you know, the club aren't supporting and aren't buying all the players he wants, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, to a certain extent, but at the same time, with the reality of how football works with every club, not just Chelsea, 99% of clubs don't do that. So it's not a new thing for Conte. And you know, why am I saying that? Because, again, the correlation for why our away performances are so bad, and a lot of people won't like this because a lot of people love Conte a lot, it's the fact that, you know, the system, it's just not really working that well. And you know what? The interview that's actually after the match are actually quite telling now. Fark, the Norwich City manager, actually came out stating that he in fact was disappointed that Norwich only drew the game. Yeah, this is Norwich City, who are 13th in the Championship. They've lost more games than they've won this season. They've won 9, they've lost 10, and they've only drawn 7 this season. He was disappointed. Now, why was he so disappointed? Because as he said in his post-match interview afterwards, he knew how to play against Chelsea and how to stop us. He matched us, matched our system, stopped our danger men, and they did all of that perfectly. They defended very well as a unit. Norwich City were very good, and he said the only disappointing thing was that he thought they were poor on the attack. Now, this is a Championship team saying this, and I really think that, you know, we're reaching a level now where if the Championship teams are feeling unfortunate and unlucky in terms of not getting a result against the club that just won the league last season, there's clearly signs that the system isn't as strong. And a lot of times, I know it's, you know, I'm not just I'm not just going to bash the players. Oh, they were bad. Of course, it was a combination of the players not playing well because they were too slow on the ball. I think Frank himself said it perfectly on TV as well. The passing was too slow, etc. But why does this inconsistency keep happening all the time? Why is it certain games the pace is there with the passing, everything's up to speed, the players know what they're doing, there's that drive, there's that energy? Why is it so inconsistent? And it's just because I think personally, whatever they do in the training ground isn't drilled into them. Now, I don't know, you guys, it's so many poor performances. I think Michy, now I'm going to start with him. Obviously, he's in the title of the thumbnail. I feel really sorry for him. I really do. Really, I think his whole Chelsea tenure has nothing really to do with him being necessarily bad as a player. I'm never going to say he's a bad player. I've always been of the belief that as a striker, they complement the system. Strikers that complement the system more obviously end up scoring more goals for you and make the team better. That's what the job of the striker's there for. Now, when Michy was first signed, he came before Conte was even the manager. He came when Conte was still managing the Italian national squad. Now, whatever plans that the club had for him from the start, literally when Conte came, they were gone. Is it Conte's fault that he got a striker that wasn't suited to his needs? No, it wasn't. Again, if everything, it's always going to be the Chelsea board's fault for not ever really having these procedures and plans in place. In a way, sometimes, you know what, actually, I made that point about Conte earlier about, you know, always moaning about not getting everything he needs. You know, if the club may be maybe 15-20% more lenient in terms of listening to his needs, then, you know, it wouldn't be affecting the players like your Michy's, because they never would have been signed in the first place, you know. So again, it's always this chicken and egg situation of whose fault is it more. I think it's both. I think they both don't help each other, and it's clearly not working perfectly at this moment in time. Even hearing Conte in recent press conferences in regards to Barkley and calling him an investment signing, and then not outright saying that the Cow rumours were lies, and he's not linked with the club at all. They're clearly not meshing well together, and I don't know. I'm just getting very tired of these types of poor, boring, bad team performances. Yeah, I know it's simple to just say, oh, the players were bad today. To an extent they were, but, it becomes more than that, you guys. I'm sorry. But in regards to Michy, I even ran off point again. Sorry, I'm really just demotivated with this match review. But even in regards to Michy, it was never suited the team at all. So when he plays like this, in a way, he really does affect the whole team. Now, why do I say this? Because the striker, as long as the wing-backs, are one of the most important players in the system, because they have to move, they have to drop deep. The strikers are the ones that actually help the other two beside them do anything in the game. Now with Michy, he doesn't move, doesn't make late runs, he doesn't stretch the play, he doesn't drop deep to let people push in behind him. You know why he doesn't do that? Because it's not in his DNA to do that type of stuff at all. He's just not that type of player to do any of that stuff. And it is getting really, sorry you guys, give me 1 second. Sorry about that, you guys. I had to tell my mum to stop speaking on the phone so loud. Sorry about that. It was really distracting me. But yeah, he just doesn't suit the team from any tactical standpoint whatsoever. And it's no surprise why the front three just was very static in this game, because Pedro, Willian have no one to play off with. They have no one to do anything with. Now, I kept saying this point that I really feel Morata should have started in this game, because Morata is going to be the key to how well our season goes. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders and on his hands, and that's because what he provides to the team in terms of all his off-the-ball stuff is really vital in helping keep everything so fluid up front. The minute one person in that front three stops running, we see these types of performances where everyone, the midfield's options become less and reduced because there's no movement. Everyone's just stationary, and it was just too static unnecessarily. And really, this has to be Michy's last game. It's not even because he's a bad player. He just don't suit the team, doesn't fit the team, and he's just really hampering how well we can do as a team. And it just needs to stop. I think David Luiz was poor today. Understandable, obviously, because he just came up from an injury, but he was pretty poor in this game at times, especially in the first half. And I don't know, the team performance, obviously, I think we definitely need a formation change or something. These types of games where our defenders have more touches of the ball than the midfield players or the guys in front of them, it really, that just tells you the team are always constantly passing back. Why? Because they have no options in front of them. There's no off-the-ball runs or anything. And I think this is what's been the real detriment to our season so far. Yeah, I mean, really, just a very, very... I'm not going to keep this match review too long today, you guys. I'm not going to lie. I am really disappointed and upset with the win. And, thank God I just didn't even bother to go to the game today. Really, after this type of performance, I saved a lot of money and a lot of time. But, yeah, I really feel maybe a formation change is needed. It's too easy to say, oh, players this, players that. But, whatever was worked on in the training sessions beforehand, because in football, there's a lot to it. The managers have teams that have all this data analysis of their opposition, where they have, and the managers spend hours, hundreds of hours, figuring out how they're going to break down opposition teams. They have all of these advantages for them, especially the bigger clubs, where they have, they have more of these coaches and backroom staff behind them to help in games like this, and it's literally just comes to no avail. And I'm really starting to feel the bottleneck for why these types of performances are becoming more consistent. It's just the team style and the system. Now, system and formation are two completely different things. The formation is only the stuff where the players are supposed to position themselves in, but the system is how you actually play inside that formation. For example, we use 3-4-3, Arsenal use it, Spurs use it. All three clubs play that system completely differently compared to each other. I think that's one mistake that a lot of people make in regards to, obviously, systems and formations. And, the system we use, of playing direct balls to the front three and then the wing backs making those late runs to, provide support, is just getting found out now. And like I was saying at the start of this thing, if the Norwich City manager, Fark, if he's saying that he knew exactly how to play against Chelsea and it worked to a T, then really, if a 13th place team from the Championship is having this much confidence and joy to play against us like this, really it's a much bigger problem than a lot of people are realising at this moment in time. But I'm not going to lie, I really wasn't surprised by this type of performance, because I remembered it last season against Wolves. Now, against Wolves, we did beat them, but the whole approach to this game, this whole unnecessary, focus on balance, defensive football, it's just painful to watch. And obviously it's starting to affect the team now, because we know what football's like. You can't keep the same system forever, because teams find you out. They know how to play against you. Why do you think there's always tactical evolutions with every team every year? You know what I mean? You have to keep up so you don't get found out. And seeing that lineup beforehand, I mean, a lot of you guys know I was disappointed to see any youth players playing at all. Typical Conte move to not do that. And then it's just like, these guys that he always relies on, all these experienced players, a bias he has for these experienced players who don't provide much in these games at all from an individual aspect, not a moment of energy or speed or, a moment of individual play or anything like that. The young players never get a chance in this game whatsoever. And it was no surprise to me that last 5 minutes when you saw Masunda and Sterling coming on, that's when we're looking more dangerous. You know what I mean? And I don't see why Conte sees that as such a massive risk to use some of these youngsters. And if anyone in the comments, listen, no one in the comment section ever write to me, oh, if you had played them, you could have lost this game. Please, if you're going to think that, don't even subscribe to this channel, because it's clearly not for you. You clearly don't understand football. But yeah, I mean, this whole, negativity towards, not using youth at all. He complains about not having enough options to rotate, but what he really means is I don't have enough guys who are above 25 years old who I can bring into the team. I mean, there's options there, but he doesn't want to use them. And, I looked at the game against Everton and Liverpool yesterday. How many young players are playing in that game against each other? And that was a big game. It's a Merseyside derby. I'm seeing Davis, Calvert-Lewin, Arnold's coming on, Solanke coming on. All of these guys playing a part. Now, we've got the best academy in Europe. And they're still not good enough or deemed good enough to be used in games like this. I mean, think about it like this. I mean, I definitely think some of the motivation for some of the players isn't necessarily there, because I really do feel that because of this lack of competition in a way, and because they know that the manager will never use a young player to play over them, sometimes you get these complacent performances. Now, I'm not going to say they're lazy and they play with no heart. If you're playing for Chelsea, it's impossible that no player plays without any heart. That doesn't happen at a club like this. Yeah, they can be complacent or they can be slow on the ball, but if they do care about playing, because obviously they all want to get in the team. Each one of those players preferably would like to be a first team player, so it's got nothing to do with matters like that. But we put ourselves in a situation now where we've got a replay against Norwich. Just thought we need another fixture, another one. It's been so congested already. It's ridiculous. Now we're going to put more pressure on ourselves as well. And I don't know, another unnecessarily defensive performance. This type of game, you keep hearing from me, why do we have to religiously use a back five? And it's so weird, because Conte was using a back four before. He is 4-2-4. He doesn't even try to attempt to use that anymore. I mean, it's not have Michy Batshuayi playing. I mean, surely the emphasis should have been on winning this game, no matter what, so we don't get a replay. Why was a replay needed? And then to make those substitutions so late as well, when clearly you could see the dynamics of the game is needed an injection or something. I don't care that there were young players there. They would have provided something as well. Look at, for example, with Everton, when they took off, I think Sigurdsson, and brought on Lookman. Look at the energy and pace he provided coming into that game. This whole thing, if you're too young, it's a risk of playing. I think it's only something Chelsea fans say, to be honest. But yeah, you guys, I'm just going to bring it in. It's just the football as well. It's just not good. It's not entertaining. It's so poor. And it was weird because me and my dad actually had a conversation yesterday for an hour. We were just obviously talking about, the future of football and how it's being seen. And, he was making this point to me in regards to that, when he's watching games on TV, just any Premier League type of game, he said most times he's either, you know, on the computer at the same time or he's reading a magazine, and he'll look up every now and then. And that's crazy because obviously it costs so much money to watch football in this country on TV. And obviously, you know, it's Premier League games as well. The amount of money and investment, there's supposed to be so much excitement around things happening at this moment in time. But the quality of football on show is boring, you know, is awful. You know, most teams play the same way. It's all about defensive balance and trying not to concede goals. And every game resorts down to teams spamming crosses inside the box. And, you know, it doesn't make for a very enjoyable game. And I think, you know, we as a club, especially this season, are kind of testament to, you know, the Premier League and with how football's running at this moment in time. And I don't know, I guess it's because there's so many managers like your Contes and stuff in this league that, you know, focus more on not conceding and balance and obviously, you know, playing football. And I don't understand why it wasn't really gone for it in this game. You know, another game where, you know, shackles were put on the team. I mean, we had Morata on the bench to not even take off a defender, especially Luis, who's obviously just came back after injury, wasn't his greatest game. He could have been taken off and you could have played Michy up front with Morata. We know that Michy does better whenever he has someone playing beside him. We've barely ever seen Michy and Morata play up front together. Why wasn't this the game to see that happening? Especially because it was clear Conte didn't want to rely on the young players in this game. But Morata's there. Michy, Morata, if you're going to be spamming in balls in the box, at least have two guys who are actually good strikers inside. Actually, you know, Michy's a good striker in the box. You know, Morata's good at finding space inside the box as well. Two focal points in the team today could have actually provided something to this team and could have potentially got us the win in this game today. But, you know, Conte just didn't make the decision to do that. And it's been disappointing, but it's been the story of the season so far. Not being brave enough to make those changes that can actually, you know, not taking the risk to provide that injection in a game, to turn it in our favour. You know, Conte never turns any games in our favour. It's always hit and miss. It's every once a blue moon. But, you know, we just, I mean, honestly, if you lost this game today, we would have deserved it. Obviously, credit to Norwich. Good team performance. They obviously knew their tactical plan. They followed it to a T. Completely stopped us from doing anything at all. And as the manager said, disappointed that they didn't win this game. And, you know, if Norwich are disappointed to not beat Chelsea, I think that really sums it up. Anyway, you guys, I'm Mini FC. This is Blue Lines TV. And, yeah, I'll be bringing a transfer daily video tomorrow, actually. So that should be decent. But I'm not even going to bother with a player rating video for this game because I don't. Sometimes negativity gets me down and I can't be bothered with it. But I'll see you guys.